Hello, everybody. I finally published my book on Amazon, and it was a bit of a struggle. I'll kind of get into it later. But this just came in, so let's go ahead and open her up, take a look at it. So I'm not really sure how it's going to look. Hopefully everything printed correctly. Hopefully there's nothing I need to change. It took a while for this to actually arrive here. Alright. So I got to just to check the quality of everything to compare like printing and all that stuff. So let's look at this one first. And if I see any problems with this one, like edges and stuff like that, then I'll look at the other one and see. So here's the back. Trying to see if how the edges look. Like if they're lined up, if the front cover is lined up. Check the quality of the paper. This is supposed to be the premium. So if you go through Amazon, there are actually a lot of things that you have to do and a lot of things that you cannot do. And one of the things is that you cannot have anything printed on here. So they will create, this will be white. So there's nothing you can do. You can't put like letters over here, anything, like you can't say this book belongs to. You have no choice but for this to be white. Okay, so far what I've noticed is that the lettering, the colors aren't as vibrant. But I did choose the premium, so it's supposed to be the most vibrant and rich colors that they offer. Making sure everything looks okay, it's not too close to the edges. There's some things I changed while I was doing this. So yeah, these colors aren't as bright as they were. They're quite dull, actually. But it still looks alright. I think if you're somebody who didn't make the book, then you won't really know the difference. But I'll actually compare it to the books I showed last time that I had locally printed. So some of these pages I actually let's see. I think some of these were like not a full page spread, and I changed that so that it would have more pages. Like I believe this one was actually over here together with this, and then I decided to separate them. So this and this was on one page, and then this and this was on this page. But I thought maybe that was, I liked it better for the story to do this than to do this. So these pages are actually quite thin. I expected them to be a little thicker, so you can kind of see through to the other side. And this one is now 2 pages instead of just 1. And then this one as well is 1 whole page. As before, it was this was on one side, and this was on one side. Okay, I want to make sure this is not too far. I think it's okay. It's raining outside, so that's the rain you hear hitting the window. These pages look actually a lot better for some reason than these pages do. The color feels quite dull to me in person. Actually on my phone here, it looks a lot better on my phone than it does in person. But of course, this is just me as the creator being very critical on it. But yeah, these look a lot better. Maybe because the background is quite dark. But yeah, this quality here looks a lot better. I'll compare it with the other book, and see if it was just a printing issue. And then I had changed this as well. Looks quite nice, I think. So before I had the sun appear, and then all the planets were lined up, and then we were going back to Earth. But this time I decided to just to kind of show that the sun is in the middle and the planets are, surrounding it. To do it this way, and I like it quite a lot. So I'm happy with that. And then here we are back at home. And this is something new as well. Just decided to put all the planets here. this is new, so I want to dedicate this to our wonderful Sesame. If you ever want a pet that, or if you're just interested in getting a hamster, I definitely recommend it. There are different hamsters, and this is the smaller hamster, and they live for only 2 years. So he passed away pretty much right on the 2 year mark. But he's a sweet little guy. He really was. It's quite shocking at how uh, how connected you can become with an animal like this. You know, it's not like a dog or even a cat. But they still show emotions, and you know, they still recognize you and will run up to you and even fall asleep in your hand or just laying down on you. It's crazy that they have that kind of level of emotion and understanding. And then, yeah, here's the copyright here. So, it's not too bad. I think these later pages look a lot better than these pages that are more bright. Let me take a look at this one, the second one, and see how it is compared. I'm just looking myself, not really trying to get it all in frame. Just want to see. So it looks to be the same. So it wasn't like a printing error or anything like that. Yeah. But overall, it's not too bad. Now, if I were to take this and compare it here with this one. So here's one of the issues I came upon publishing through Amazon, which is size restrictions. So I really like this size, but unfortunately they didn't have this size. And depending on what size I chose, I would have to like move around some of the pictures and the lettering and stuff like that. And so I went with this which is 8.5 inches by 8.5, so it's pretty much a square. And that for me was a lot easier to go in and change things to fit that format than anything else. And for example, like I wanted to create a hardcover, but the hardcover was actually even more limited with the sizes, and the only size that seemed okay was 8 by 11. And once I started trying to change everything to fit that format, it just changed how the book looked so much. Like the page, that, I just decided this doesn't look well. In fact, it felt like a completely different book. If you were to have them side by side, it would feel like you would be questioning, like, why is this page, why is this moved here and this moved here compared to this one? And also, of course, after I did all that, I had realized that to print a hardcover through Amazon KDP, which is Kindle Direct Publishing, actually you have to have at least 75 pages or more to create a hardcover book. And I'm not even close to that. I mean, like 20 pages off. If I remember, I'll talk about the page count in a little while. But let's take this one and compare the quality. So you see this compared to, we'll just take this page. With the local people that made this, they had quite a lot of issues because they don't normally make books like this. So like the glue is coming off the spine, stuff like that. Quite funny, but I want to find one with the bedding here. So here, if you compare, yeah, see how bright this is compared to this? And the paper quality on this is very thick, as this is quite thin. I'm actually surprised that this is premium. I have no idea how the standard quality would have been. But let's look at this one here. Yeah, you see a bit of difference. This one, maybe. It's not a different one. See, I changed it up quite a bit. Yeah, see how bright that is? And then here it's very dark. And as well as this here, just the colors. Like you can see at least the difference. There's like a light blue line here for the atmosphere. But here you could barely even see that. And the darkness of the blues, very different. And it doesn't really show you that when you preview the book. You know. But other than that, I still like it. So after 90 days, I can start sending this to a publisher. And I expect that through an actual publisher. It will look a lot better. I think that from this experience here, I've got my monster book is coming in as well, and I'll compare that to this one. I think when it comes to self-publishing through Amazon, they don't take it quite seriously. So, I mean, if I got this from an actual publisher, and this is what I got, I would not be happy with it. But going through Amazon, pretty much Amazon is allowing me to keep all my rights, and then they're printing it for me and then publishing it. And I think they get percentage from it, which I'll show you later, but I don't think they're really taking it as a hardcore business. And I'm actually kind of shocked that a lot of people because I looked up a lot of things on YouTube with some problems and issues I was coming up with, and none of them really said anything about the quality of the printing. And I might actually try to find specific videos about people talking about that, or just find something online, maybe Reddit or something, with people talking about their experience with the printing quality of the colors and stuff. Like, the cover looks really great, but then inside is not the level of quality I was expecting. So going through Amazon, it was just a way for me to get it published without waiting for a publisher to reply. And if I get any sales on Amazon, I think it would help a lot to present that to a publisher to show that there is at least some interest in it. But on another note, this is actually on Kindle as well, so you can order it on Kindle. So with that all being said, I want to show how much it costs. So the minimum price that I was allowed to make this book is $13.30 USD. Out of that is $5.32 for printing. 60%, I think that's how much I keep. I don't remember. But anyways, for every book sold, I get $2.66. Expanded distribution means that anyone who owns a store or like a library can order a bulk amount, and I guess they get 40 or I get, I don't know. But I get nothing from that. I guess Amazon keeps the rest of that. Yeah, here's the printing. So it's premium color interior with white paper, glossy 8 by 8.5 8.5, and the page count is 454. So I guess I want to talk about a little bit of like some issues I came up with. It's a bit confusing, honestly, especially if it's your first book on what to do. After you upload your book, you get a chance to take a look at how it's going to look. And it's quite confusing. I would think that where they're going to cut the book is here. But in fact, they cut it on this dotted line. So you can see I actually have gone past that here as well. So I had to go back and change everything. So that means I had to shrink it a bit, and that was a bit of a headache. But it's alright. Also, with my program, I had to use Canva. So I use Clip Studio Paint, but unfortunately, whenever I export a comic through Clip Studio Paint, I cannot choose CYMK, or is it CMY? I don't know. I think it's CYMK. which is for printing physically, and RGB is for printing, or is for digital. So I had to use Canva to go in and be able to export it as a PDF with CYMK. And that means I had to go and pay for this as well, but that's not the issue. One of the things I came up with is that, so your cover is a different size than the actual pages. So my page is 8.5 by 8.5, but actually the cover is from here to here, and then also this part here. So this amount here. So Amazon gives you a little cover calculator. You put in like the size, the type of paper it is, and then also how many pages. So when I thought how many pages, at first I thought, okay, that means this is one page, right? Page 2, page 3. Because I was thinking, okay, they're thinking like, how many actual physical pages is here for them to calculate how thick this spine is going to be. But actually, that's not true. And every time I made a change like this, I would publish it. It means I have to wait like a day or two or so for them to review it and then come back to me and say, okay, we're good. But then I would keep realizing, like, oh, I did something wrong. And page count was something I did wrong. So page count is not actually one physical page, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's like that. So you go into your program and you look at here, it's 54 pages. So I've actually got 54 pages, which is front and back, counting front and then counting back. So if you don't do that, then your cover is going to either be, I guess it would just be shorter here. It would be cut short. So that was something I had to figure out. So that's two things, like the trim, and then like here, the trim is actually not this square. It's actually a little bit inside the square. So I had to make sure that everything was at least a bit far from the edges to make sure all was okay. Which was a bit frustrating because I had already done this so many times before, like making these other books, like changing stuff around. And then I had to do it again through Amazon, which I thought was just going to be an easy upload and print in this size no matter what, but it wasn't. And I guess that's all I have to say about that. But no, I like it. I think it just feels good to actually be considered self-published. And whether or not I like the quality, I guess it depends on the person who buys the book. Because if you never knew how it looked on here or anywhere else, I think it looks good. It looks great. And a lot of people do self-publishing on Amazon. And I might look into self-publishing in other places as well. But I believe I have to wait 90 days, which I guess is that's just Amazon's way of allowing you to keep the rights to your book, but allowing them to at least make some kind of profit off of how many sales you make within those first 90 days. Something else that I saw with people self-publishing on Amazon is that, and this is just a personal issue I have, is that especially I saw someone who was using Canva, and on Canva, I don't know where it's at here. Maybe, I'm not sure. Because I never used it, so I didn't want to actually look for it. I don't know where it's at. Maybe Elements or something. But you could buy, maybe it's not on Canva, maybe the person that was using Canva was using something else. But basically what was going on was there are assets that you can buy. So what it is there's an artist, or maybe it's even AI, someone using AI basically to create an illustration. And then they take those illustrations and they allow people to buy them and use them for their books. But I thought about it and I was like, okay, that's like hiring someone to illustrate your book. But the difference is that anybody can buy these assets. It's not like, okay, first person who comes and buys them, that's it. They buy them, nobody else can buy these assets. It's actually anybody can buy them. And the person that I saw using this was creating coloring books, storybooks, other things like that, using these assets. And to me, that just seems, I don't know, it just seems a little wrong. Because let's say I go and buy a book and I really like these illustrations. I think they're really cool and everything. But then I come across a completely different story using the exact same images, the exact same illustrations, but it's a book by somebody else in a completely different story, but is using the exact same pictures. To me, I don't know, I would question that, and I would feel like that's kind of messed up. For one, I would think, wow, this person stole this other person's stuff. But in reality, it's not. It's just something that multiple people can use, and the only thing that's going to be different is the content of the story, like the wording and everything like that. So I don't know. To me, that's kind of, I don't know. It just doesn't feel right. I think if you feel you're incapable of doing the illustrations yourself, you should go out and try to find somebody within your price range that can do those illustrations for you. That way, those illustrations are specific to your book. And I think that, if you go and you see all these books that are using the same illustrations, they don't really have their own identity. It's not like, wow, I really like this author because I like their art style. I really enjoy this. You can't start liking a series of books because of that anymore. Because these series of books have the exact same pictures as these books over here. And it also allows people to start cranking out so many books, especially coloring books. Just so many, just throwing assets and pictures that you just easily obtained, and then just self-publishing it and making money off of it. And these people buying these books, they don't know that what they're buying is just something that so many other people can take and make a different book out of it. You know, this maybe it seems like I'm whining or something, but I just feel like, to me, I wouldn't buy a book that I knew had the exact same pictures in it from somebody else's book. I would want to find something that was different. So I don't know. What's your opinion on that? Like, how do you feel about that? I don't know. But talking about coloring books, I might uh, create some coloring books. I don't want to take like let's say this, and then just black and white it, and then say, okay, now this is a coloring book. That's just too cheap to me. It's like I'm just doing it for the money, which I'm not. I'm actually have made these books so that I can use them with the students that I teach at school. And the students that I'm teaching are 2 and 3-year-olds. And believe it or not, with enough repetition and just making them repeat after me, they can say most of these things. Especially with my monster book. They absolutely love my monster book. So here's my Is It a Scary Monster book. So this is to help teach shapes. And it's a lot of repetition because I found that with very young children, even children at home, if you have them say it multiple times, it's just going to stick in their head a lot easier than if you just have them say it once and then never come back to it and hope that they remembered it, you know. So I showed this before, it's nothing new. But yeah, it's my students at school. We can pretend that we're scared, so we make scary face and like, is it a scary monster? And then before I even turn the page, a lot of students are already saying no. And then eventually, as I teach them more and more, and expose them to as much as I can, I'll have them start asking them these questions. Like, is it a boy or a girl? Maybe choose some students and make them say if they are a boy or girl so they can start to understand that concept. This one we can do together. How many eyes does it have? And then we can count. It has stuff like that. How many legs does it have? It has 10 legs. This one, it has hair. Stuff like that. And they really enjoy it because they'll see this and say, oh, it's angry. So, for me, I'm making these books for my students. And they're catered to very young students. I don't know why I said as if I had something else to say about that. But I think it'd be very helpful for people to have these as well, if they're interested to use them. This is more of a story, kind of like a small adventure, but teaching the planets, as this one is pretty much strictly educational. There's no story going on or anything. It's just more educational. You know, you can teach colors, you can teach counting, you can teach a bit of emotion, like scary, angry, happy, not scary. Colors, I always say colors. Imagination, like imagining what is this and eventually expecting them to be able to recognize that this is a hexagon and this is a heart put together. Yeah. So thank you for your time as always. And this is in no way a video trying to say, hey, go out there and buy my books. mean, I am showing it to say, hey, it's out there, but if you decide to buy it, thank you very much. All the funds will definitely go towards my little baby, Ellie Mae. Sweet little girl. And I can't wait for her to grow older and enjoy these books with me, as I will be making books for her as well. So once again,